Introducing Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Icon of the Seas, the ultimate family vacation. The ultimate 6 slides, 8 neighborhoods, 0 compromise vacation. The ultimate never done that, can't wait to do it vacation. The ultimate chillin' by a different pool every day of the week vacation. This is the Icon of vacations. Icon of the Seas, arriving in 2024. Book today. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Welcome into Missing the Point. I am your host for this wondrous occasion. I am DK Sizzle. I forgot there for a second. I'm here with, I'd say, what we would consider the OG basketball crew here on MTP, although all folks are welcome. All of the 6 are welcome to come talk about basketball, but the 3 of us do, I think, get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I'm here with the real BK Bob Kelly and Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan.
Was the last time we were all together was the funeral of the last year's Celtics, right?
Haven't seen you guys since the funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've done some other shows, but yeah, on this subject matter, yes, this is the first time we've been together since the Celtics unceremoniously were bounced out of the NBA Finals by the Golden State Warriors, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about basketball and the goings on in the world of basketball, of which there is quite a lot. So we are going to start with the Celtics, as we are, a sort of a New England flavored podcast, a little Boston macchiato, if you will. But we are going to go on to talk about the obvious elephants in the room in the world of the NBA. And if you don't know what we're talking about, stick around, because there's some fun stuff going on. The issue with this show today, guys, is that we're going to talk about the Celtics, and we're going to talk about what constitutes them as a good or not good basketball team, and what they need to do to get better, and what they've done wrong and what they've done well. But the majority of what we're going to talk about today is actually got nothing to do with fucking basketball, which always annoys me when people put me in that chair to talk about shit that, we really just wanted to talk hoops. But today we're going to have to talk about a bunch of other shit. I'm sure it's going to still be interesting, but let's at least start with our favorite sport and the association that runs it, the National Basketball Association, and our favorite team, the Boston Celtics. Now, longtime listeners of this show will know that we have differing approaches, Ray and I, and Ray and Bobby, and Bobby and I, to watching this Celtics team. I like to think I'm somewhere in the middle of you two guys, Bobby being this sort of eternal optimist and Ray being the eternal pessimist when it comes to the Celtics. Both, I think, for good reason. But Ray, I'm going to start with you because, you and I have had sort of fractured conversations via text about where this Celtics team is and where they're going. So on a broad level, talk to me about the holes that you've seen and why you think they're there. I know specifically we're going to talk about rebounding and defense, but when you talk about the defense, are you worried that it is an Ime isn't here situation, or is it because it's not as if the personnel's really changed that much, or is it because we're not getting rebounds, or what do you think is going on in Boston right now?
Honestly, I think it's an effort thing, right? And I think your effort controls so much of what goes on. So whether it's on defense, whether it's on offense, once again, the offense has been fine, and we've talked about what has gone well offensively, but rebounding is effort. Guarding your yard is what they call it, is effort. So the effort hasn't been there on certain plays, but I also think it's tied to them playing long minutes so far. Like 2 out of the 7 games, which was back to back with Cleveland, has been overtime, right? So I think the Orlando game was overtime too, if I'm not mistaken. So the fact that they played so many minutes so early on, and obviously it's a shorter preseason, obviously the offseason turmoil with losing Ime Udoka, even though Joe Mazzulla was there as an assistant, he obviously was trying to implement what he's looking to do. And right now, currently, once again, we're not saying what it's going to be at game 82, but right now it's currently constructed. He is in over his head, if you ask me. And like I said, between that and then, like I said, between the lack of effort on the defensive side of the ball and just a personnel issue too, right? It's a personnel thing. Obviously, when you miss Time Lord, there's a lot of things that add to what was happening, but yeah, it looks bad, and I have been pissed, to say the least, and I'm pretty sure I'll get pissed as we continue to speak about that, because there's a lot of things they need to work on that side of the ball. But no, just my initial thoughts is that to me is what's been happening with them thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in the broad strokes for sure. I think that the thing that's annoying me the most is you saw how up on them I was when we were first kicking the shit out of the Cavs in the first game we played against them. And I think what's clear is that not only has Jaylen Brown gone up a level, but the partnership between him and Jason Tatum has finally gotten to a point where that we've all sort of been waiting for, where they kind of play off each other perfectly now. They're ending every game with like a similar point total and points scored in different ways. They're both, I think, playing defense at a higher level than a lot of superstar wings would in this league. And I wish that the rest of the team would help them out a little bit more. But you did say something interesting, and that is the absence of Time Lord. Bobby, you and I have talked about this, sort of touched on this sentiment at this point in the season and at this point in the construction of this team. Rob Williams can't really be relied on at this point. The problem with him specifically, I think, is that when he's out there, he's so fun to watch. He's so effective. He's such a big part of why we're good defensively, why we're, much better on the boards, but also he's just such a great player to watch. And it's hard to, I wouldn't say turn on him, but it's hard to start to have the conversation. It's a difficult conversation to have where we just sort of have to go on the facts. And the facts of the case is he's just not there when you need him. We need him right now. We need him to start this season and set a good precedent. And we needed him at 100% health in the playoffs last season. And he just clearly wasn't at 100%. What do you think? Do we need to go get somebody as good as him? Is he tradable at this point? Or do we just kind of have to roll the dice and base our championship hopes on Rob Williams' knee?
I mean, I feel like that's what the organization kind of put us in the position to do, and it's been like this for a few years where, listen, when Rob's in there, there's no doubt about it. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. You saw it at the end of last year. He was really the pivotal part of what made us that top defense. But at the same time, it just seems like we're putting our eggs in the same basket every goddamn year. And those eggs come out broken every single time. You know what I mean? And it's so glaring that we're missing his length. We're missing his rebounding. We're missing so much when he's not in there. And it's just kind of crazy to me that they still haven't done something to back that up. What about Blake? Blake Griffin's barely even seen the court so far this year.
Yeah, that guy's warming a seat on the kid bus. I don't know.
I just don't understand why we can't get an impact big in here, man. I don't understand it. I'm not ready to get all over them right now because there's a lot of weird stuff happening in the NBA. Like the Sixers aren't playing great, the Warriors aren't playing great. Obviously, the Lakers are 1-4. That's a whole different fiasco, but. It's very
That's not
early.
that weird though. It's pretty. I can tell you why.
It's pretty on point, yeah. But it's very early, and I feel like there's a lot going on for this team right now for them to put that extra effort up that we saw last year. You know what I mean? With the whole Ime thing, having a new coach, Jaylen and Tatum are pretty much the entire team right now. The rest of the supporting cast is absent most games. Brogdon's been pretty good, but it's early. We're 4-3 now. 4-3.
Yeah,
and
4-3 looks really different than 5-2 though. You know what I mean?
Does.
It's one of those score records where it's I would have really liked to be 5-2.
But two of the losses were in overtime, and they're games that technically last year both wins one of those games, right?
Yeah, both had terrible refereeing decisions right at the end, which is don't put yourself in the position that for the rest of the game for you. You're not going to bitch about the rest.
Jaylen knocks that shot down. What? I'd say 50-50.
I didn't love the play. I didn't love the play, to be honest.
I didn't either. But I mean,
regardless, I as a theme, and Ray, I'll come back to you on this one. We played the best basketball, I think you would agree, of the playoffs when we were playing two bigs, and those two bigs were Rob and Al. And I think that we had some guys come in that could sort of play a similar, if not the same style as those two guys that made us run a really tall, really athletic, and really fast-paced offensive and defensive basketball. We still play our best basketball with two bigs, except we've got one on the entire roster. So I guess same question back to you. How do you feel about this whole Rob Williams thing? Are we going to be able to survive based on if he's healthy or not, or do we really need to make a move? And if we do need to make a move, is it to get an impact big, or do you have something else in mind?
Well, I mean, you and I spoke about this at length, DK. I know, we know Bobby's all for the guards, but at this moment, guards is not the problem on the team. Even though people were hot with Marcus Smart last night after that bullshit shot. in overtime. But that's another.
Well, he likes to take bullshit shots. You just have
right, right. Exactly. Yeah. we can just we can touch on that in a moment. But yeah, my stance has not wavered. It has to happen now. Like, we cannot wait until Christmas Day against Milwaukee to say, you know what, for the new year, guys, we got you. We're gonna get a player. Now, for those that are looking to get Victor Wembanyama out of France, they teams maybe are unloading on talent because
we don't have enough resources to get to the point where we have to draft him. We'd have to change. We'd have to start.
No, I'm not saying no. We're not saying to get him, but I'm saying teams where they say, you know what, we don't need a certain player. You can have him, for like a second rounder or whatever, and go from there. Now, a guy, I know I've talked about Dwight Howard. I've talked about, we were talking about Melo in the season, coming here, but another guy that I thought about, and Bobby may appreciate this more than you, DK, because we know, our running joke on this show was that, you're not a fan of Toronto, but there's a guy up there in Toronto, and I'm not talking about Chris Boucher because they're not going to trade him, but another guy they signed to actually play in Orlando last few seasons is Kem Birch. Kem Birch, someone that can shoot the three, he's not going to get you 10 rebounds a night, but can it be those 5 rebounds a night that went to the other team that led to points in the paint? Absolutely. And, he's another 6'9", 6'10" guy. I think he is someone that can be that fourth big. And I'm sorry, I understand those that love him. I met him behind the scenes. I like Luke Cornett too. I do. He's a really nice guy. He's
not the answer, though.
Not the fucking answer. He's not. He's not. And I'm just like, I
should murder cornet, bro. You don't like the murder cornet?
No, I like the nickname was great. But the nickname is better than your play, bro. It's a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Dancing Bear with Gershon Yabusele. The fact that the Dancing Bear does it again. Does what? Like, he was looking like me on the bench, chilling. Like I was at the YMCA. It's out of control. So to me, I just think you gotta call Masai Ujiri. I'd call Minnesota as well. I've talked about this on our group chat. Naz Reid would be perfect. Boy, he would be Rob. He's Rob Light. He would be perfect here, but he can shoot. The Rob can't shoot. Right. Naz Reid can shoot. So that to me,
it'd be great if we could put something together for Miles Turner. I mean, I know we've been talking about this for 3 seasons.
Yeah, but I mean that's a pipe. He's going to LA at some point. The fact, and he.
Why would he want to? Why would he want to?
I
he's leaving when at the end of his contract, right? I don't know what his contract is, but I would imagine that at the end of his contract, he's going to go to a big market team.
Sure, but the reason why I think he was looking to go there, at the end of the day, we're all human, right? You want to go where you want it. So the fact that it's been put out there from Woj and Shams and any other media pundits that's talked about that's plugged into what LA is looking for and what they're willing to give for his picks, like or as players, like you want to go where you want it. And Indiana's had him on the trading block for several
6 years.
I wish he subscribed to this podcast because he would feel very wanted by me over the last few seasons.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. We would love to interview him, but I just think that's really where that premise comes from for him. And yes, that would be at the top of the top, creme de la creme.
Because to me, it's like Rob is him light. You know what I mean? Like it's we're not getting like a Rob light. We're getting, and I would fucking trade Rob for him in a heartbeat, to be quite honest with you. But I think I agree with you that we're probably not going to get the Jared Allens or the Miles Turners or the Pascal Siakams of the world on the team. I get that. Yeah. But what about Bol?
Well, I mean, he was here, right?
Yeah, but like, let's go get him back. He's like way better now.
Yeah, no, I mean, me personally, I'm all set.
Really? He's huge.
Yeah.
His rebounding numbers look good.
Sure, but that's a lot of people. The numbers are inflated down there in Orlando. Like I'm not basing it off what I've seen down there with him.
Something in the air.
11-7 this year. He's 11-7.
I still, I mean, granted, maybe, I mean, I had a chance to meet him too. Like he's cool peoples, but nah, I'm good.
I love Ray Sean's name drops. He's like, yeah, no, I met him. He's pretty good.
No, I mean, you guys know I work there, but I mean, I don't think that whatever you see happening down there because he's getting the opportunities down there, we would not see up here. And then fans would immediately get annoyed and say, oh, he's a bust.
But we would see it, though. He would get the minutes. Also, have you heard that he is, in fact, so nice they named him twice? All right, fine. Maybe not Bol, but I think we gotta fucking go get somebody, or we gotta get Rob some robot legs. That's like the alternative. But I think this does sort of shine a light. Yeah, it does sort of shine a light on a larger theme at play here, and a thing I think I've only really worried about in the last few minutes before settling down for a long winter's nap deep in the darkness in my room. I've only really worried about this. I haven't quite said it out loud, and it's that. But you did pretty abruptly at the start, Ray, and it's that Joe Mazzulla does look a little in over his head. I think that the thing that's worrying me is that Ime had specific things that he had to correct about this basketball team, and he corrected those things. And it's those things that are creeping back into the team now. And it's there's a list, there's a plethora of things you can sort of rattle off, but tenacious defending, when to defend, defending a lead, which he didn't even really get us all the way there. Right. But he definitely got us a lot better at blowing leads. There's also this other insidious thing where, yes, we've gone to 2 overtimes. Yes, the Cavs are a good team and probably a better team than a lot of people. Not us. We were actually saying they were going to be pretty good, but probably better than a lot of people were giving them credit for. But I don't love our 2 overtime performances. I don't love the fact that, and again, it's early, like Bobby said, I don't want to overreact, but I don't love the fact that we were just gritting it out in multiple playoff series against some of the best teams in the NBA. The mental exhaustion that I went through watching the Bucks series and Giannis just fucking getting whatever he wanted up until he finally had enough arrows in him to fall down. The fact that we're going to overtime with the Cavs, like that should be our bread and butter, whether we're there or we're here. At their house or our house, that should be our bread and butter. It's like, okay, we have the reserves. We've trained for this. We have the reserves to go and win this game if we want. And the decision-making and the energy levels and God, the rebounding in overtime has just looked so fucking pitiful that it worries me that Joe Mazzulla, I'm sure he's a nice guy and I'm sure he's a good coach, but he's very young. And he's not that much older than a lot of these players. Like, I wonder what him and Al Horford's age difference is, because he's 34, right? How old is Al? Like 32?
Yeah, I was 36.
36. So Al Horford's older than our head coach, right? So, at this point, we're looking at a situation where we can't afford to slide like we did at the start of last season. So,
right,
if you're Brad Stevens, what do you do? I mean, it's going to lead us into the larger Ime conversation, but I do want to touch on Bobby, Joe Mazzulla first. Do you agree with me that he looks this way? I don't love how Grant Williams talks to him. It belies a little bit less respect than I think he should have for the fucking coach. Like a couple of times I was like, Grant, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, what are you doing?
That's really what it boils down to, I think, is the respect factor, man. When you looked at Ime, they had his back and he had theirs, and like there was such a mutual level of respect between him as a coach and them as players, and like they responded to him unlike they've responded to anyone else. You know what I mean? And that's what it boils down to. And I don't think Joe's there. And I mean, as much as we love Tatum and Brown, they have those bad habits, and I don't think those bad habits were really like done away with. They were just kind of put in the back pocket. You know what I mean? And you do see them creep up at the ends of these games. And the rebounding portion of it, man, is the most frustrating part, because it's just been the issue the entire time. And it's like, you can make as many defensive stops as you want, but if you don't get the rebound, it doesn't fucking matter. And you can play the best defense, that you've ever seen.
If they get a second chance, like, what do you want them to do?
Right, exactly. And what was, I think the Cavs in overtime was like, it was like 8-2 second chance, and it's like, you can't have that, because if
not in a close game,
it's such a turn of momentum. Yeah. When you're up by 2, you make a defensive stop, they get the rebound, dish it out for 3, and all of a sudden they're up 1. When you could have been going down the other.
Yeah, we give them better. We give them better looks on those second chance points. It's so fucking frustrating to watch.
It's crazy.
It's also there's a fact that we all sort of have to accept on that rebounding point. We'll get back to Mazzulla in a second, but on the rebounding point was a fact we sort of had to accept. Al Horford surprised everybody with his abilities at 36 last season, because he got a year off. And he did not get that last year. He played his ass off all the way in almost all the games he possibly could have played in a season, and went all the way to the 6th game of the NBA Finals. we can't do this to his legs if we want him to be of any use to us in the playoffs. And like his rebounding even has gone down, I think, a little bit since last season. That might be tiredness, or it might just be it's gone forever.
I have a question for you. So you remember what we loved about Ime at the end of the season, where it was like, the Celtics gonna be playing like shit, and Ime would call him over to the side and go, "What the fuck are you guys doing? Cut the fucking bullshit." Do you think Joe has that in him right now?
I don't know enough about the guy, to be honest with you, but I don't see that personality in him. And I don't think that's the kind of coach that he is. And, we talked a lot about Steve Nash in the group chat, like the kind of coach that Steve Nash is, very obviously led by example as a player, wasn't like a super vocal coach, didn't fucking curse anybody out, didn't like reel anybody in. I'm not sure who could, Ray, you and I sort of agreed that Mark Jackson probably should have gotten that job in the first place, or like, we had a list of people that probably were a little bit more deserving, but you can motherfuck Kevin Durant all you want. I just don't know if that's going to do anything either. Like, he seems to just hate every fucking coach that he has. This team actually has the Celtics. I mean, this team has actually had a coach that they respond to. We've seen, to your point, Bobby, we've seen how they respond, or what they respond to specifically with Ime. And Ray, I'm going to come on to this topic with you because we've been sort of, pissing around the drain here with the Ime conversation. Essentially, the issue is, you sent me an article today. Essentially, it was Marcus Smart giving an interview about the Ime situation. And what I gleaned from it was that he is like, we don't really know what happened. I kind of expected him to stay and be the coach the next season. And I think the quote that stood out to me was, he said, if we went into the front office and we expressed this, they'd be like, yep, we hear you, but they wouldn't tell us anything else that happened. Now, there's two sides to this, right? There's the idea that Brad and Wyc and the entire Celtics, like upper echelons of the organization, have a piece of information that may or may not be very harmful to somebody if it came out, if it was confirmed. We don't have that information, and the players don't have that information. I don't love that Marcus gave that interview. It's just like not helpful from a PR standpoint, and it sings of a little bit of a leaky ship, which I don't love, and not a lot of cohesiveness. But it's a little strange that Ime is now going to coach another basketball team, because that coming out in the press, to me, that basketball team can't be so dysfunctional that they didn't do their homework and find out what exactly it was they were hiring. Are the Boston Celtics just some sort of paragon and bastion of morality that they took it too seriously, or they came down really harshly on something that the Nets don't deem as bad? Or are the Nets just like trying to create the most toxic fucking environment possible? Like, shed some light on this for me, because I'm confused about the situation, and I feel like more information would help. I guess unless it was really hurt the person involved. I would just love to know what the fuck is up.
Yeah, and I think the players would too, which is why Marcus, said
clearly
the Brown said what he said too. And I know what I love that he said that. Put the fucking pressure on him, but make them look like the bad guy if that's the case. Because my thing is, why would you not at least tell the people that are there? What you're telling?
I was a little surprised that they didn't know.
That's my thing. Like, you could tell Smart, who's the captain, tell Tatum, tell Brown, and whatever. If you just want to tell the starters, fine, and then whatever, if they get out or whatever, cool. But it's not like it was going to be like, well, Marcus Smart leaked it to Woj, and the next thing you know, we're talking about on ESPN. I just think that, I feel like a part of it is Brooklyn trying to be a little bit toxic too. I do. Just like when they put out there about the trade rumors, trading.
What a fucking dysfunctional family they're going to be, huh?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I just think, to me, that's a little bit what was going on. But at the same time, how do you get to a point where you're now looking to get something back in return? I mean, hell, we didn't love how we don't love how Doc Rivers left either. Yeah. It's a whole different story, obviously, a whole different scenario, but at least they got draft picks for Doc Rivers. Like, you're telling me you can't stand what he's done that much that he.
Yeah, I mean, well, you do. The only thing, I see your point. I genuinely do, and I said it early on in the Nets trade rumor, I guess, hiring Ime rumor circus to you guys. But just to play devil's advocate for a second, I wonder if they deemed it worth it to them. First of all, if they were surprised that the Nets wanted him at all, knowing what they know. And which again, I have no you're sitting here fucking speculating. You're playing a speculation game on both sides of it. Like it could be a 1 and it could be a 10 and it could be any number in between of like severity. And it's impossible to form an opinion on it. But just to play devil's advocate on that point about not getting draft picks back, what if it just benefits them that they don't have to pay? Like he's fired. They don't want to be on the hook for the money that they owe him. They essentially can keep him tied to his contract, which I'm sure includes a non-disclosure agreement. And they want to fire him, but it was like complicated to fire him. And this just made their lives like a lot fucking easier to just be like, oh, you want to go to Brooklyn? See you later. Now he's out of the building. And I could see that from a business standpoint making sense. Maybe not from a basketball standpoint.
Right. It goes hand in hand though.
I guess it does. It's like, it is sort of the central question we're asking though, right? Did the Boston Celtics make a judgment call based on this guy can't be the fucking coach of our basketball team? Because if the world knew what we know, it would be way more harmful to the team and the future of the franchise and the organization than if we just act on it now. Or the opposite sort of question, which is, did they sort of say, oh, he's suspended for that? That's bullshit. We work in a corporate American environment and we have to follow the rules and the guidelines that we've set out to protect our business interests. And I think that is sort of the question we're asking here, because I still really believe, and Bobby will come back to you, I still really believe that to do what they did, it had to have been pretty bad, right? Like the idea that he didn't do enough to deserve that suspension would or maybe that's why the fucking details haven't come out. Maybe the Celtics are like, fuck, like maybe we overreacted. So where do you now currently stand on the Ime thing?
So what I always point back to is that Matt Barnes interview. And I know
it's not great, not a good look.
Right. And because what really jumped off the page to me with the Barnes thing is like Barnes was full in Ime's court 100% that first 24 hours. Like he posted on Twitter that he was being dragged down. You know, I think he even brought race into the cards. Like he really went full force for Ime. And for him to have such a change of heart when he heard those details, and I'm guessing he heard them from someone who was privy to the situation, whether it be, you know, from the coaching staff or from the team internally. But it just really, that's when I was like, okay, something's different here. And honestly, like, I know this is like petty of me to even think this, but like, do you think the Celtics are like, okay, hire him, go ahead, hire him, see what happens?
Yeah, I honestly think that might be
details. See what details come out within 24 hours of you hiring him.
Do it.
Right, yeah.
Do it. I fucking dare you. Do it.
That's what I honestly like. I know that sounds super petty, but like, would you be surprised if that's what happened? You know what I mean? And all of a sudden they have to suspend Ime, and it's right. So I just think
I just wonder
so
if
much
it comes
more to the
out.
situation.
I wonder if we Woj. By the way, just saying. I mean, I don't do his job, and I think it's very difficult to scoop stories in sports, and it's highly competitive. But the fucking basketball reporting on this topic specifically was fucking awful. Piss poor, and it was piecemeal, unconfirmed bullshit at the start. It just only went to speculation after that. And I think to just, Woj has that very matter of fact way of reporting, and I think that did not benefit him at all in this scenario. Like, he was like, "This is the case," and you believe him when he says shit is the thing. So everyone just starts to go on that information, and it's like, maybe it isn't the whole story. But I wonder, because he hasn't signed with the Nets yet, right? As of right now, it's 9. Oh my gosh, it's 9/11. It's 9/11 on the East Coast here on Thursday night, at the time of recording, and he is not the Brooklyn Nets head coach at this point. The story that he was gonna be dropped on Monday, right? So Monday it was, and this was like Monday morning, Monday afternoon. Monday it was, by tomorrow. That's Tuesday. Then it's like, probably in the next 24 to 48 hours. Now it's, I haven't heard shit. So I wonder if it's, we're going to sign him. We pretty much know everything. We're good to go. It leaks, right? It comes out. And then the Nets go like, all right, let's get the full disclosure on like everything that went down. And then like, cause they need to, right there, it gets to legal. It goes from, okay, we're going to bring Ime in, the general manager, and the players have signed off on it. And everybody's like, yeah, we're going to get Ime Udoka. It's going to be great. Then legal gets involved. They go like, yeah, let's just like figure out the contract, just make sure there's no liability issues for the Brooklyn Nets as an organization. Then they get the information that the Boston Celtics have on why they suspended him for a year. And then they go like, yeah, no, we can't fucking hire this dude. That seems super likely to me, to be totally honest with you.
Well, to add on to that, and like I said, it may be a segue to what we speak about next, but how do you consciously make that decision if there's more, but did what you did with Kyrie Irving today?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, perfect. Honestly,
that's my thing. And once again, I get from a basketball standpoint, I listen. Sure, he can coach his ass off. That's not the debate. But from a moral compass, a moral ground, whatever word you want to use, how do you consciously make that decision? But and do what you did with Kyrie Irving?
I have a rebuttal to that. I genuinely have a rebuttal to that. They fucking didn't do the right thing with the Kyrie Irving decision. They were fucking late. That like this shit's been going on for fucking like
their PR
they were fucking late to the fucking suspension. They didn't suspend him for fucking long enough. Yeah. They didn't come back out for they did. All right, so let's just set the context here for a second, just before we go down the fucking railroad. Let me just.
I got a lot on this.
I know. Let me set the listeners up. Just let me do it for their benefit. Just I know there's three guys talking here, but just for their benefit, let's just do the timeline here. Kyrie Irving retweets two videos. One is a link to a documentary that has known anti-Semitic tropes and themes in it, which is on fucking Amazon Prime, by the way, which is fucking absurd. So if he was just bringing attention to the fact that like Amazon Prime is hosting that as a fucking as a platform, great. Thanks for letting us know. Gross. And that was one of his rebuttal points. Secondly, he retweeted some bullshit that psycho Alex Jones said, and he basically told a bunch of parents that their kids didn't actually get shot, so that guy can get fucked in hell for all eternity for all I care. So like, don't retweet his shit. But mainly it's the anti-Semitic fucking documentary link that we're talking about here. So he does that. And I'm going to refrain from sort of commenting on Kyrie Irving as a person as I set up the facts of the case here, but he does that for whatever reason. And then when he's asked about it, he's cryptic. He doesn't really give a real answer on whether or not he's in, like, essentially, are you anti-Semitic? I'm not going to answer that question. Not a fucking great look. Let me give you one more try. Are you anti-Semitic? Because the answer is no. Ray, if someone asked you if you were a god, you say yes. It's like, come on, man. Like, we're throwing you fucking softballs here. So, doubles down, super cryptic, et cetera, et cetera. The Nets have officially, as right before we sat down to record this podcast, the Nets officially suspended Kyrie Irving for 5 games without pay. With fucking, I'm sure
at least that's the key word.
At least 5. Sure, correct. Exactly. Sorry, at least 5 games without pay. Depending on the PR backlash to that number set. And I don't know what without pay means genuinely. I don't think he's going to miss a meal, but sure, he's not getting paid his game checks. That's where we are. Essentially to me, and I don't want to go overboard, but essentially to me, that is very simply boiled down to the sentence, Kyrie Irving is an anti-Semite. That to me is just like a fact to me now. Because if you don't say no to that question, that's what you fucking are, right? I don't think, and I this is a bold prediction, I don't think Kyrie Irving is a Brooklyn Net in February. I don't think Kyrie Irving is in the NBA in February. That's honestly the direction I think this is heading. It's a fucking disaster. Having watched everything, Kyrie saw everything that has been happening with Kanye West over the last few weeks. These are giant fucking platforms these guys have.
That's what blows my mind. Is like, listen, Kyrie, you saw what Kanye went from idolized, like, #1 media star to canceled. Gone. His school got fucking shut down. Like, everything about Kanye is done. Yeah. He's done. And you think that, like, this is the route that you're gonna take? Like, it's wild.
So Ray, you're sitting there. You watched all the same shit we've all watched, right? We're all tuned into the same pop culture TV station. You've watched Kanye say all the shit he said. You've watched fucking Kyrie Irving play all last season, only the fucking away games because he won't get the fucking COVID vaccine. You've watched him now double down on anti-Semitic fucking bullshit. You watched him fuck your team up. Like, how do you feel about Kyrie Irving right now?
So it's like I said, it's a loaded question.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some complicated through lines.
I think, yeah. I think about to the show that we did, because I think we were all on with Abby Chen that night. And, she had mentioned about how, how philanthropic he was, and just really when he was in a great mood, just how, how much of a nice individual he was. And I bring it up to say he has contributed to WNBA. He has contributed to HBCU. He has given homes to people that need homes. My issue with him has been he has never allowed that to be the main narrative about him outside of basketball. It is okay to have the intent to inform, but to me, this is the classic version or classic case of intent versus impact. Your intent may have been to inform. Your intent may have been to have people be, reading into what you're, getting into and try to follow you on your journey to seek truth, or whatever you feel that your truth is. However, when you do not vet the sources, this is the backlash that comes. And it's not just him that didn't vet the sources. It's also the team on Amazon. So I'm glad that you highlighted that as well, Dave, because I know that's been something that's been said on Twitter all day. Well, what about Amazon, or what about this? And it's like, look, at the end of the day, both parties are equal and spewing this vitriol. So to me, the apology of and I put it in quotations, the apology that came from Kyrie, we should get an apology from Jeff Bezos as well, because once again, it's quality control. Don't tell me that you don't know what's coming in and out of your platform. So the fact that it came down, the fact that you did not vet this source to say, well, you know what? I know this is being put on our platform. Let's check to see if this is actually something that should be allowed because of what it entails. So there's a lot of layers that fall under what happened there. But I go back, I say that to say, I believe that Kyrie should have read the room. And, to your point, Bobby, he did. This is where, and this may sound jovial, but I know it's a serious conversation. I'm not here to mess up the bread. I am a capitalist. Y'all know we talked about money. We talked about other stuff. I am here to collect the money. And the stuff that I talked about at the beginning of this combo, he does that stuff. By you doing this stuff, you're messing up the resources that allow you to be the resource of the people. So I don't excuse me, I don't know where his mindset is. He clearly does not, he's clearly not thinking everything through the way that he should be. And shout out to Vincent Goodwill, who wrote a phenomenal article about it, who's an insider for Yahoo Sports for the NBA. He wrote a phenomenal thing about how he wants to be everything a leader is supposed to be, but doesn't want the accountability attached to it. He doesn't want to be held accountable. And shame on those that are on Twitter.
He said, "Don't treat me like anybody else."
Right, exactly. But shame on those on Twitter, regardless of your background, that did not want to hold him accountable. Like, it was only a link. It was only a link. How many dumb stuff have you posted for, or that you posted online that you just there look at?
Yeah, but see, that's the crux of the issue. Nobody's mad nobody's mad. I don't think. Maybe some people are. I don't know, but I'm not personally pissed off that he tweeted a fucking link to the film. The damage isn't done when he does that. The damage is done when he calcifies it. When he makes a series of
tweets about it,
essentially flippant and inflammatory statements. Gives interviews with reporters who are fucking doing their job, by the way. But when they ask him these questions, like they would be not doing their fucking job if they didn't ask these questions. Gives a shitty, condescending fucking answer when he's first asked about it. Then he is playing some sort of fucking vaudevillian villain role in the follow-up scrum where he's saying, I'm just who I am, and given this, a lot of words with absolutely no fucking content behind them or any meaning behind them, and ask the question directly, are you an anti-Semite? And to say, I can't be, or how could I be if I know where I come from? Just say no, dude, because at the end of the day, across the world, whether you like it or not, fascist dialogue is on the rise. Fascist governments are on the rise. They just fucking elected one in Italy. It didn't go well last time. Okay. I mean, the boots were nice, but pretty much everything else was diabolical. All right. It almost just fucking happened in Brazil. Elon Musk takes over Twitter. That conversation's about to get entirely more fucking toxic than it's ever been. Trump's going to be back on the fucking on that platform saying all the shit he's saying. Kanye West has gone fucking insane and is propagating anti-Semitic language. There's an entire fucking cult out there that have been saying the word Hollywood instead of the word Jew for fucking I don't know how many fucking years, but that's essentially what they mean. This shit is on the rise. You have to educate yourself as somebody with a fucking platform. You have to educate yourself with the facts. Don't insulate yourself with people that say yes to you constantly, because that is going to inflate your sense of fucking knowledge and ego. You need people there to check you and say, don't do that stupid thing before the world has to say it to you. Okay. And like, that's what's fucking happening now. Right. Everyone's fucking saying it to you, and you can play the fucking victim and you can dance around the facts. But the fact is, you are not plugged into what's truly happening in the world, and you're doing damage. Now, giving money to philanthropic causes, giving them money to charities, this is, and building that's makes it worse. The fucking Donda Academy was doing good shit. Like, it was genuinely doing good shit in the communities that it's in. And now it's fucked because you selfishly, you gave it to them in the first place, but you fucking selfishly went and did this fucking stupid thing. So see you later. Kyrie Irving's fucking, I'm sure, got his fingers in a lot of the same pies, and the same damage is about to get done, and it's infuriating.
And don't get me fucking started on the George Floyd comments. I'm not even gonna go down that route, but I mean, really,
at least he walked those back, I know, but not very well.
That really took me. That really took me left, and I'm like I said, it was amazing to me that, you know, he with a straight face really made those comments there. And once again, you're getting told stuff from Candace Owens, and once again, I won't say certain things about her.
That rotten bitch.
I want to make sure. There you go. You said it for me.
Fucking hell. But, oh my god.
It's so many things wrong with the information that these people are getting. And once again, I think about all Kanye records. I think about Everything I Am. I think about, records for College Dropout. Like, there was messages that was.
I mean, the Kanye thing is almost it's more inflammatory, right? Because it's like, not only are you doing saying a bunch of horrible shit about a historically oppressed culture, you're also turning your back on a culture you helped build and like shitting on it, and like essentially saying that like the things that are really negatively impacting that culture like didn't happen or don't matter. It's like, dude, you were one of the architects of this shit. What the fuck? And it's like, Kyrie Irving, same thing, dude. You're fucking in basketball. Like you're a part of this fucking culture too. Don't say, "Don't treat me like any other man. Don't treat me like, don't treat me different than any other man." When you know full well
you are different than every other man,
obviously. Right. I mean that's
bananas. That's the biggest issue for sure. And once again, I like I said, there's so much more that may even come out from this, but I wanted to bring this up too. And like, sorry, bro, I know.
The double down to me is what's even crazier is like, even after the donation to the organizations and the press, right, quote unquote, the press releases that came out, the joint statement from Kyrie and the Nets, you're still gonna come out and say the bullshit that he did. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, I thought it was over. I thought it was like, okay, they came out with the statement. The PR finally took over. It's gotta be brushed under the. No, Kyrie wouldn't fucking let it happen. He just wouldn't let it.
Adam Silver, what are you doing?
Adam Silver's Jewish,
right? But how did it take that long to get to that? Like, it
might honestly be a fucking tougher spot to be in for him, though, to be honest with you, because he can't seem retaliatory. Like, that's somebody in the room is saying that to him right away. It's like, dude, give this fucking dude enough rope to hang himself just for the first few days.
He's going to.
He's fucking going to. It's like that's like, he's saying stupid shit. He's going to continue to say stupid shit. You just pick your moment, which I think he might have a little bit. But on the other hand, if I was him, I would have been like, "Excuse me, can you get him on the phone, please?" Like, what the fuck?
And the last thing I'll say is, unless you want to go further, and this is from my boy G. So he said this to me earlier. He was like, "Look, we have to, as someone who was part of a group that had been demonized and put down for 400 years, as we know, don't put down other cultures in this process.
Yeah.
Just because you believe that, they're rich and they run everything and they do this, like, we know as Black people, we know what it is to be villainized. We know. So why bring that on another group of people because you're mad about how Kyrie and Kanye being attacked, especially when they're not in the right. It's one thing if they would write about something, but they're wrong. They're wrong with what they said. They're wrong in how they approached it. Once again, intent versus impact. Once again, in their mind, they may have thought, okay, I'm gonna do it like this, but that's not how it was received. So it can't just be like, well, because they look like us, we got to make sure we protect it. And the same thing, it goes back to the OJ shit. Well, we know OJ did it, but we don't want him to go away for X, Y, and Z reason. He killed Nicole Brown. Like that's he killed her. It wasn't like sure. It wasn't pretty sure. Them say, it's the son of no. He went into the crib, did what he had to do. Went to the Broncos. Was like,
he also, the Black community owed him fucking nothing at that point. He didn't want to be Black until it was convenient for fucking OJ to be Black in the fucking case. So like, whatever, dude.
Yes, right. Okay.
He's on Magnum PI and shit.
Yeah. And it's funny that the thing.
But no, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's wild. So it's just like, don't be what you have hated for years. Yeah. Hate cannot. You cannot show hate to another group when you've been the person that's been hated on for as long as you've been on. And it's just that simple.
I feel like ignorance is such a big piece of this too, because like, listen, sure. if you can recognize where you're at in life and where the world is and the world around you, and react to that, people will see you so differently. But right. for Kanye and Kyrie, both of them, bro, Kanye doubled down on this shit after his life was ruined. And he's still coming out saying the same exact shit. Kyrie's doing the same fucking thing. And it's just it's just mind-blowing to me. And I feel like it's mind-blowing to the Nets. It's mind-blowing to the NBA. Because they're just like, bro, what is actually happening? You know what I mean? That's like what in your brain honestly thinks that this is where we're going?
I know. I genuinely think I know what's happening to Kyrie Irving's brain. I think Kanye West is an entirely different kettle of fish. But here's what I genuinely think is up with Kyrie Irving. I've watched this dude since his rookie year. I've been around and inside the fucking Kyrie Irving conversation for a long time. And quite frankly, up until this point, I've been one of his biggest defenders. And I think you guys can fucking back me up on that. Yeah. Because all I ever really gave a shit about up until this actual
how good at basketball
was like, I was like, I don't know, but he is really good though. Like that was just my whole shit. The entire fucking, because I just love ballers, and I really did like watching him play basketball when he was in his heyday. But I think what it is that he, like I said earlier, he's insulated himself with people that just say yes to him. And somebody told me that I think Kyrie Irving's probably like a smart guy in some areas of his life, but somebody once told me that conspiracy theorists love conspiracy theories because they've never been the person in the room with the most facts about something before. So now they are, even if the facts aren't real and they've made them up, they can be like, I'm saying with certainty, and there's a community of people that also believe this. I'm saying with certainty that I'm right. Based on this random evidence, you're just too dumb to find. So I get that vibe, unfortunately, from Kyrie when he talks. He's so enlightened. He's so much fucking smarter than me. And he has all this information I don't have access to. And it's fine if it's don't get the fucking vaccine because there's aliens in it or whatever the fuck he was saying. And it's fine if it's I think that I was the great leader that I was because of LeBron now all of a sudden or something less harmful to that effect. Whatever. Yeah. Now it's I have this fact about the Jews where like who had that in their fucking bingo card? Like, it's like, where the fuck did this come from? Now you're doing actually harmful shit, Kyrie. Actually, genuinely harmful shit, and I just don't have time for it.
No, that's really what blows my mind is where did this all come from, bro? Like,
it's a known thing that happens cyclically in our society. Every 100 years or so, we decide to play the Jews for shit. Like, it's fucking their fault. Like, you're looking out and look out your window and tell me what the biggest fucking church you can find is. Because there's giant fucking mega churches spotted all across the South and all across the Midwest, not built by the fucking Jews. There's a bunch of fucking agendas going through the House and the Senate right now that aren't Jewish nationalist fucking agendas. Like, there is a fucking religion in this country that is helping shape the fucking structure of the country, and it's not Judaism.
Jewish. Yeah.
Okay, so
I know
that's real. You know,
I will say this because about just the vaccine thing, because obviously that's been a hotbed issue since 2020. The only reason why he's being looked at as a genius in that regard is because of what's happened now in New York, and they've realized when they made whatever statement they made about now they're bringing back people to work and they're hiring people. He looks like a genius in that case. There,
he's he goes from that to the vaccine doesn't work.
Right, I'm not here to argue those who say it. That's not what I'm just saying. In people's minds, he's going to be looked at as a genius because it was like, oh, like, you know, he went through all that and he'd have to go through
ahead of the curve.
Oh, fine, whatever, cool. But I will say this: it's like, bro, you're not Muhammad Ali, you're not Harry Belafonte, you're not Fred Hampton, you're not. I don't know if I said Jim Brown, but you're not Jim Brown, you're not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know, you're not Angela Davis, you're not Phoenix Shakur, which was Tupac's mother. You're not any of these people that really was out on the front fucking line on a regular basis for the betterment of Black and brown people. You're not even Colin Kaepernick. Are you willing to sacrifice? Because now, motherfucker, you about to find out now. You want? Oh yeah. You fucked around long enough. Now you about to find out. Yeah. Now you about to find out. You about to find out how real it is. Myers Leonard found out. Remember, and someone brought this to my attention earlier. I forgot about the from Seinfeld. Kramer, well, Michael, whatever his name is, but the guy that played Kramer.
Oh yeah,
Michael Richards. Sorry. Yeah. So when he when he said the N-word in that crowd
loudly,
loudly, right? Wasn't even right, real loud. Was clearly he was clearly comfortable saying it.
Obviously. It was the fourth time that really drove it home. You know,
right? Exactly. Right. Yeah,
he said that before.
Yeah, for sure.
Too fast.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just like I brought those up not because they were white, but I brought it up because it's like, look, the words that you say, the things that you share matter. Myers Leonard was on a fucking Twitch game or whatever. I don't know Twitch that.
He's playing Call of Duty.
Playing a video game.
Yeah, he's playing Call of Duty.
Is that what he said? Vanished. Gone.
He's not in the league right now, right? He's gone.
Not even in the league. Gone. Once again, he's at the time that Kyrie is, so obviously that helped get them, out of there.
Yeah, but I don't see Kyrie Irving being an NBA player for as long as he should have been. I really don't.
Sure. But there's other cases that, yes, have not get talked about. We talk about Joey Bosa. We can talk. Yes, there's other things that have not been brought up. I totally get that. This is not about selective, outrage or whatever. It's handling right or wrong. And yes, because Kyrie is someone that people, find it easy to get on when he says certain things, but he fucking contributes to it. This is what happens. And yeah, once again, it's at least 5 games. Once again, I want him to still do the philanthropic stuff, but hey, if you can't get your head out your ass because you want to make these statements, and once again, the intent versus impact. Your intent may have been one thing, but the impact is far greater than you ever imagined, and it's not the positive impact that you envisioned when you originally shared this information, especially about the dude. I don't even know what Alex Jones is, but when I heard you say what he said, like that to me, once again,
shit. Don't even concern yourself with him. He's just like
but you have to understand that even a retweet, once again, in 2022, if you're retweeting or liking a tweet, that is seen as a fucking endorsement. It's just
it is.
Simple.
It absolutely is. That's what the reporter was trying to explain to him.
That simple.
That's what the reporter was trying to explain to him. That's known. That's a known thing.
He's giving him the definition of promotion. You can't sit there
and say, "Oh, well,
how did I promote it?
I just like the by accident." Oh, what are you talking about? No way,
dude. Unless you just say your Twitter was hacked, bro. That's what everybody else always says.
Yeah, but that's bullshit. We know that's not the case.
I know, but like, don't double down. That's all I'm saying. I mean, what my favorite, honestly, what I think was an unsung part of this, these events unfolding in the last few days. What I think was a really important moment, and you might not think so, because like in our world of like we're basketball fans, we just like watching these dudes like chop it up about basketball and like fucking like rib each other and stuff. But how hard Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal came out and said this, literally they were like, this idiot needs to get suspended. Like, and I was like, oh, because to me, and I think to you guys, those are voices in the National Basketball Association that fucking reverberate. regardless of the fact that most of the time they're fucking,
especially Shaq. Shaq more even for Charles.
Shaq's always mean something. Yeah,
I agree 100%. I like Charles Barkley a lot personally. Like, he's my favorite guy on the show.
Yeah,
so, like I like his perspective on things. I agree with him a lot. But either way, they both came out and they were like, "Fucking suspend him. This is fucking ridiculous." And I think because they're normally just trying to talk about basketball and just being like, yeah, we do this fun, awesome show that's like a companion show to like the product of basketball, which is better than all the companion football shows, and it's great, and we're here for it. To just turn around and say like, this guy's a moron. That was stupid of him to say, and the fucking league should suspend him. That's an endorsement directly from two figures, giants, really, in basketball, to give the NBA more power to be like, cool, like we got these guys on side. We got, then, because that shapes the narrative and that shapes what people think. Because I remember sort of waking up to the news and trying to process it, and then hearing them say it and be like, yeah, right. Then of course that's what they should do. Like they immediately put into words what the actionable response to this bullshit was, which I think was awesome. Like I really enjoyed it.
I do wonder, and I mean, and it's unfair to him, but it's just, he's the athlete of the generation that speaks up the most. I do wonder what LeBron thinks about it. I'm assuming we already know, because the fact that they erased the episode of Kanye on the shop,
the barber shop, the shop.
So, yeah. So my thing is, there's no way he's looking to endorse Kyrie to come to LA now. Not the way that he protects his brand. No fucking way. No way. He is.
Do you find LeBron performative sometimes in that way though? Like I think that when I heard that he canceled,
I think it's genuine. I think it's genuine. The only thing where people, I was like, he was a little shaky on, and I get it because it's fucking China. Was it something with Darren Moore?
Yeah, well, that's what I was.
I wouldn't say much either. I'd have been like, "Hey, go get them LeBrons. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
I see you. I wouldn't say much with LeBron, so I feel you. I mean,
it's not as if he really put his money where his mouth is when that happened. But also, like to say we're not going to air this episode of The Shop instead of we're going to air this great episode of The Shop where LeBron tells fucking Kanye that he's being a fucking idiot about all the shit he's saying about like everything. Because it was probably him sitting there going like, yeah, right. Okay, all right, that's a little weird, but whatever. And then the producers being like, we can't fucking air this, right? Like that's probably what happened.
You know why though? Because he thinks about shit. He's been a thinker from the moment they put him on stage at 18 years old against Sacramento, game 1. He has thought about him and how he is viewed, not only in the league.
Don't you think he should come out and say some shit then?
Sure, but I honestly, but once again, he's more cryptic than Kyrie. If you want to go there, to be honest, because he's a little more charming than Kyrie. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But to me, I think that was the statement by saying, oh, we're not going to air this, and it would happen with Dream Champs too. And honestly, Nori, I fuck with you, bro. But you wasn't feeling that way before the interview. Let that shit ride, Nori. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna get into that because that's I'll turn into a different person on his podcast. But Nori,
do it.
You should have just let that shit ride, bro. Like just yeah. Just like you don't have to be apologetic after the fact. Like stand on what you want to stand on. You tried to educate him in the moment. It didn't work. It is what it is. Leave it at that.
I just. To end on a we've had some laughs on this show. It's been a good time. We've said what we've said and we stand by it. Fuck Kyrie Irving for what he did, but I just have to say, like any research you ever do into what caused the Second World War and the Holocaust and all that shit, it wasn't Hitler getting up on stage one time and being like, it's the Jews, and everyone was like, well, okay, and then they like went to the Second World War. It was years of slow build platforms pushing an anti-Semitic agenda, a them versus us agenda. And it was a lot of little things leading up to bigger, more horrific shit. That's how societies go in this direction. And you're as responsible for the consequences, no matter how big or little of a piece you are in contributing to us getting to those consequences. So you need to fucking educate yourself on what reality is. It's not a facts versus fiction argument anymore. It's the real world where real consequences happen to people that don't have $25 fucking million and a platform to say whatever they want. It's not cool, man. It's not fucking cool. Be cool, because it's not cool. Shut the fuck up with that shit. Seriously. It's too fucking far. And it's it's the internet dulls everything a little bit. You know, you get so much information all at once that some things seem a little bit less serious at times, but that's fucking serious and it's not fucking cool. So we here at Missing the Point absolutely do not condone that fucking language, and that guy can thoroughly go fuck himself. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great evening.
Hey, what's happening out there, everybody? This is Lawrence Ross, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my podcast, The Lawrence Ross Show.
Egomaniac.
It's a 2-hour weekly exploration into my mind. I also do sketches, celebrity impersonations.
You're out of order!
And I also do song parodies. Not too shabby for a blind guy.
Not only are you visually impaired, but you are geographically impaired.
New episodes are released every Friday. Check it out on your favorite podcasting platform or listen to it here on Society 13 on Electrocast.
Hey there, fabulous souls. I'm Stephanie Baklaan.
And I'm Eden Alpert.
And we're the hosts of the brand new podcast, Unapologetically Fab.
Get ready to join us on an amazing and real journey as we dive into life after 40 and own it.
We're all about changing the narrative, leaning into who you are, and living a life by your own design.
Join us as we embrace life unapologetically and redefine success.
This is Unapologetically Fab,
an Electrocast production.
See you there.
Electrocast.